Good evening, everyone. My name is Andrew Rees, and it's my pleasure to welcome you all to the final of the Sussex Young Musician of the Year 2021, hosted by Coro Nuovo. The competition is now in its sixth year, and this year we had 31 entrants. Sadly, however, it's the second year for us to host the competition online. Normally, we would host the competition as part of our summer concert, but it's not to be. However, every cloud has a silver lining. And this year, we're able to welcome our most esteemed conductor to adjudicate the competition from the comfort of his own home in Finland. Many of you will recognize him, or certainly his back, from the first and last nights of the Proms performances. This year sees him conduct his fifth last night. A guest conductor at the highest international level and a prolific recording artist, his performances combine structural cohesion with authority, elegance, and passionate delivery. Sakari Oramo was born in Helsinki and began his career as a violinist, becoming concertmaster or leader, as we recognize the role, of the Finnish Radio Symphony Orchestra. In 1989, he studied conducting under Jorma Panula, and in 1993, he stood in for a sick conductor with the Finnish Radio Orchestra, which led to him being appointed co-principal conductor. In 1996, Oramo was named principal conductor of the City of Birmingham Symphony Orchestra, or the CBSO, having only conducted the orchestra on 2 previous occasions. He then assumed the post as music director and artistic advisor in 1998. From 2003 to 2012, Sakari Oramo was the sole principal conductor of the Finnish Radio Symphony Orchestra. It was during this time in 2004, I think it was 2004 anyway, that our paths met for the first time in a performance of The Dream of Gerontius in Helsinki. I remember that weekend you were feeling pretty poorly and he had conducted a performance of Mozart Requiem on the Friday evening, followed by a performance of Peter Grimes, which I attended, which was wonderful, on the Saturday evening, and followed by that small piece, The Dream of Gerontius, on the Sunday evening, and for only the second time ever in Finland. So a memorable occasion for me, certainly. Then in 2008, he became Chief Conductor and Artistic Advisor of the Royal Stockholm Philharmonic Orchestra. His 3-year contract was extended and then extended again until this year. And everybody referred to him as their beloved Sakari. And the relationship with the orchestra was love at first sight, apparently. And that the chief administrator said that you are not just one of the best conductors in the world, but also the best conductor of Sibelius's works. And you left on a massive high recently with the performance of all 7 symphonies, I believe. I have tuned into a few of them, and it's really exhilarating. It's wonderful. But we can talk a little bit about that later. In October 2011, Oramo made his first guest conducting appearance with the BBC Symphony Orchestra. And again, he made such an impression with them that in February of the following year, he was named the 13th Chief Conductor of the BBC Symphony Orchestra, which became effective from the first night of the Proms in 2013. As in Stockholm, his contract has been extended twice already. He's married to Finnish soprano Anu Komsi, and they have 2 sons. In 2009, he was awarded an honorary OBE for services to music in Birmingham. And recently, the Sibelius Academy, where he trained as a conductor, have appointed him as a professor of orchestral training and orchestral conducting. As you can see, our adjudicator this evening is rather special. Not only is he a soloist violinist, leader of an orchestra, conductor, mentor, and teacher, but he's a really, really lovely person too, to go with it. So we are delighted to welcome, to adjudicate the final of the Sussex Young Musician of the Year 2021, Mr. Sakari Oramo. So, welcome. How are you?
Many thanks. I'm very well, thank you. Yes, and I'm really enjoying being involved in this competition and already appreciating the things that we are going to experience with the performances of these young artists.
Fantastic. Well, it's wonderful to have you with us. And how is Finland? I believe it's rather hot out there at the moment.
It's quite hot, really. It's like a heavy air, and we're expecting a thunderstorm which might not come. I don't know. It hasn't sort of come in the last 2 or 3 weeks, and it's been really, really hot. So, but actually, personally, I like the heat very much. I'm very happy with it.
Ah, well, that's a good thing then. Excellent. And when is your next trip over to Britain?
Well, if everything goes according to plan, which we of course don't know in these times, I'm due to conduct a Proms concert on the 27th of August. So it's not all too far in the future. And of course, we've had to cancel a lot of projects in the last year and a half with the BBC Symphony Orchestra. And of course, I'm really longing to get back working with the orchestra again, and hopefully also to playing to a live audience first at the Royal Albert Hall.
Absolutely. I know you've recorded the Sibelius symphonies in the past. Was it, well, what kind of experience was it this time in your final week, knowing it was your final week with the Stockholm Orchestra and then having no audience present?
Of course, that was the strange part of it, that we had to do it for the cameras only. But luckily, the Stockholm Concert Hall have invested in really state-of-art equipment and also personnel to make the streaming as high quality as possible. And so, I mean, we just took it as performances, as concerts, and tried to make the most of it. It was the first time I've done a Sibelius Symphony cycle chronologically, so starting from the first note of the first symphony, which is a rolling B on the timps, then followed by the same note on the clarinet, and finishing in the final C major chord of the Seventh Symphony. So it's actually only half a step in the musical sense, being natural to see, but between those two notes, there's a whole musical universe, a huge trajectory of development, of organic, wonderful growing material, and feelings and emotions and exhilarating music, I find.
It is absolutely wonderful. I've been listening to it on my iPad while doing some gardening, actually, and there was more listening than gardening going on because it was so exciting. I was just being distracted and had to change my view. It was just absolutely wonderful. So I'm hoping to continue listening. But really, really, congratulations on such a fantastic project.
Thank you so much. Sibelius really takes our attention. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we have, of course, Finlandia, that wonderful tune. We have some wonderful patriotic words in Welsh as well, which is a hymn tune, as we do in English. But in my homeland, we have some wonderful words which we sing as often as we can. It's one of the greatest melodies, really, isn't it?
And I believe also the tune is the national anthem of Chile.
Is that right?
If I'm not mistaken, yes.
Wow. It'd be interesting to delve into to see how that came about. How wonderful.
Yes, it's one of those quirks in musical history.
Yeah, how wonderful. Well, it's fabulous, as I said, to have you with us. I think it's time for the audience at home that we moved on and introduced our first competitor this evening. We have a young soprano, Jane Burnell, and with her accompanist, Chris Pullane. And we're going to play her performance now. She will introduce the songs, and then we'll have a little chat later after we've listened to her. So sit back and enjoy Jane Burnell's performance.
Hello, my name is Jane Burnell. I'm a 24-year-old soprano originally from Cuckfield in West Sussex. My programme today will consist of all song repertoire, as this was an area of my repertoire I have been significantly working on over the past year, so I feel it really represents me authentically as an artist today. The 4 songs I will be performing will be Ich hab in Penne by Wolf, a real staple of any recital series I like to perform, followed by Lerchengesang by Brahms, an incredibly new piece for me and something that I am working on to perform in a summer recital series in the coming months. My final 2 pieces, we will be going back to Grieg's Sechslied Opus 48, a song cycle, as I mentioned in my last audition, has become very special to me. So I'll be performing number 5, Zur Rosenzeit, followed by number 6, Ein Traum, which depicts a dreamlike world at the start, escalating into a climactic ending where we hear that the dream has in fact become a reality. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy. Ich hab in Penne einen Lied geboren, in der
Was our first competitor, Jane Burnell, performing 4 songs in German. The first by Wolf, the second by Brahms, and 2 songs by Grieg. So, Sakari, what were your first impressions of Jane's performance?
Well, we've heard some wonderfully natural singing, just unspoiled, with a perfect technique, beautiful, beautiful sound, great text, which is not so easy to do in German, and also a sense for the dramatic content of each song. Each song sounded different, and I think Jane really got the sort of character of each song perfectly. She sings so freely, so wonderfully unaffected by any kind of singing schools or different ideas that teachers might want to plant into her head, and she just sings with her own voice. She has a beautiful middle register. And the only thing I was hoping that she would perform a song where she could go a bit higher. I would really like to hear her top A's, B's, and C's.
Yeah,
because I'm quite sure she can do them.
Yeah, I'm sure with further training, she wants to go and do a Master of Music at the Royal Northern College of Music. I'm sure with further training, she might have a teacher who will be able to explore that upper register. But I agree. I thought there was some wonderful warm tones coming out when she came to the Grieg songs, and we heard different colours immediately in that middle register, which were great. I enjoyed her kind of coy, coquettish charm as well in the first piece when she was talking about all the lovers she had all over the world, and she kept it very introvert. I thought she didn't really overtly display her her passion.
That's also a virtue, I think, to be able to sort of imply things without making them too obvious.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a kind of a fine line where actually the performer can transmit the idea of the piece without doing so much. You just do what's written and do it beautifully and clearly and passionately, and that's exactly what she did in each of the songs, I think.
Yeah. Excellent. And at the end, I thought we really felt that that the reality, we could see the reality coming through from this dream that she was having in the final of the Grieg songs. Yeah, excellent. Well, an excellent start to a great competition.
Really great.
Thank you so much for your comments.
Thank you.
We'll move on now to our second competitor. He's a young clarinetist called Laurence Cuttriss, and he will introduce his piece to you as well.
Hi, I'm Laurence Cuttriss. I'm a clarinetist from Burgess Hill, West Sussex, and I'm currently in my 4th and final year at Trinity Laban Conservatoire of Music and Dance. For the final of this competition, I've chosen to perform Jörg Wiedmann's Fantasy for solo clarinet. Wiedmann wrote this when he was 19 years old and encourages performers to be as imaginative as possible. He said he incorporated everything he loved about the clarinet into 7 or 8 minutes worth of music. And I really enjoy performing this work. It is very virtuosic in character and very technically demanding, utilising several extended techniques for the clarinet. And above all, it is great fun to perform, and I hope you enjoy.
Well, that was Laurence Cuttriss performing a piece by Jörg Widmann, The Fantasy. Wow, what an exciting piece. From the first to
Absolutely.
the last.
Absolutely. And great from Laurence that he had the courage and the will to perform exactly this piece and exactly a contemporary piece in the competition. I really appreciate that, and the way in which he did it was really accomplished. Very, very good indeed.
Yeah, and a very different choice to Jane, our first competitor, who chose to sing 4 pieces in German, of course, and now Laurence has chosen just to play 1 piece. Do you think he could have added something, I don't know, something more legato at the end, or do you think that piece stood quite strongly on its own?
That piece stood quite strongly on its own, and I think, I mean, of course, I was thinking maybe he will perform something short and beautiful and in a different style. But then on the other hand, the fantasy by Widmann really kind of has so many different facets and aspects and musical styles in it that actually I think it was a really good entry to this competition.
Yeah, it's technically extremely challenging, isn't it? And
absolutely, yes.
Those virtuoso flourishes, you know, from the bottom right to the top, right the way through the range, they're pretty, well, I'd imagine rather difficult, but they're very, very impressive when they played like that.
The multiphonic effects, which are kind of overtone chords that are produced from the instrument, I think he did those really brilliantly. Maybe he could have given it even a little bit more contrast, a little bit more wildness in certain passages. Yeah. I mean, it all felt just a tad sort of constrained in the expression. And of course, when you do something, when you perform music that is so difficult technically, you kind of, you want to make sure it's right.
Yeah.
And then if anything, he could add the extra kind of flight to his playing in those wild passages.
Do you think that the circumstances of the recording might have affected that? So if he was live with an audience where he'd have a response, because I'm sure in a live performance, people would react to the difficulty of the piece, and perhaps knowing that it was a recording and it was for competition, then he did restrain himself a little bit and gave us a slightly safer performance.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. I mean, we all live from the contact to the audiences and people's presence. Even if I usually stand with my back to the audience, I can still feel the presence of the audience. I can feel the presence, the intensity with which people listen to the music, and it does affect me a great deal. And I always want to give a bit more and a bit more interesting and a bit more variety and all that. And of course, in these conditions, it's difficult. But I think he did extremely well, and he brought out all the different characters and facets of the piece beautifully.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. It's very exciting to listen to. Excellent.
Indeed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, that leads us to our third competitor, and we're moving on to listen to a young pianist now, Maria Luke, and she will introduce her pieces also.
Good afternoon. Today I will be playing for you Chopin Preludes numbers 7 and 8 in A major and F sharp minor, followed by Ravel's Ondine from Gaspard de la Louis. The first prelude is a short and sweet dance, which then leads into the F sharp minor prelude, which is very tumultuous and stormy. This is then followed by a serene and atmospheric depiction of Bertrand's poem about a water nymph called Ondine. I hope you enjoy the performance.
was Maria Luke's performance of Chopin's Preludes 7 and 8 and Ravel's Ondine. Wow, there were far too many notes to count in the Ravel there. Sakari, what did you think of her performance?
Yeah, Ravel's Gaspard Burnell is a notoriously difficult piece, and it's a beautiful performance. Maria really has the ability to kind of grab the moment. I mean, the way she lets those single notes that are sometimes there in the Ravel and also in the Chopin, the simple phrases, she really gives them time and lets them breathe in their own fashion. And I really enjoyed her performances. Maybe a slight point that I thought, and maybe it could also have to do with the quality of the recording, was that the quicker figures were sometimes a little blurry. And I had a feeling, although I'm not a pianist, but I'm a son of a very good pianist, and I had a feeling that she sometimes doesn't quite play to the bottom of the note in the fast passages. So maybe that's something that she could concentrate on in the future to really kind of nail each note right to the bottom, notwithstanding what dynamic it is, soft or loud or middle mezzo forte. But in the fast passages, you really need that kind of pearly quality, which was maybe slightly blurry in these performances. But otherwise, beautiful expression and interpretation, and really kind of high quality playing.
Yeah, she was very poised as well. She was very confident. She took her time before beginning before starting. And so did she lure you? Did she manage to seduce you to the bottom of the lake, I wonder, in the Ravel?
Well, I mean, I would have wanted to go a little deeper even, but I mean, she did a beautiful performance of Ondine, no question.
Excellent.
It's such complex music. And I mean, I'm in the middle of recording a series of Ravel orchestral works with my now ex-Stockholm Orchestra. We're still in the middle of that project, but Ravel is such a close composer to me. I really love his music, and Gaspard de Nani is just so evocative, so wonderfully rich and colorful music.
Yeah, and notoriously difficult. I think it's regarded on the Händler's range as being at number 9. From 1 to 9, it is number 9 in its difficulty.
It's number 9, together with Mili Balakirev's Islamé Fantasy, which is also incredibly hard. So all the difficult Liszt pieces go into category 8, I think.
Wow, really? So even beyond Liszt, amazing. So it was a big challenge for her to offer that piece, but wonderful.
Yeah, and she did it with a great sense of occasion and performed beautifully. Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Well, we come to our final competitor, and we have our second singer of the competition. Nancy Holt is a mezzo-soprano, and I'm going to hand you over to her, and she will introduce her pieces.
Hello, I'm Nancy Holt, and I'm a mezzo-soprano, and I'll be performing today with Ashley Beecham. Our programme is about young love. The first piece is It Was a Lover and His Lass by Madeline Dring. The famous words by William Shakespeare talk about young lovers in springtime. Followed by this, we'd like to perform Liebst du Schönheit by Clara Schumann. The poem says, "Do not love me for beauty, do not love me for youth, do not love me for wealth, love me for love, and if you love me for love, I will love you forever." And finally, we would like to finish with Una voce poco fa from Il Barbiere di Sevilla by Rossini. Rosina has received a loving letter from Lindoro, who is actually the Count, and she's singing about how much she's in love with him and how she will win and succeed in being with him in the end. I find this piece epitomizes the excitement and joy of being in love for the first time. Thank you.
Springtime, the only pretty springtime.
So we've reached the end of our competition, and that was Nancy Holt's performance. So Sakari, what do you think? An exciting end to a competition?
Yes, beautiful round mezzo-soprano voice, very, very poised. She has a great capacity of performing and making the words speak. She has a clear text. Maybe it could be honed even a little bit more in terms of the different languages. I mean, the English was, of course, perfect, but the German and the Italian, they could have more of their own vowel colors, each of those languages. And I'm sure further studies will help in that. And I'm really happy she did two pieces by female composers, Dring and Clara Schumann. And also, I'm really happy that she did an aria, which was, of course, a change of style and kind of went into the operatic world with the Rossini. I would maybe wish her to have a little more courage in her interpretation, and maybe also in the way she uses her voice. It's always very poised. Sometimes, like at the end of the Dring's Shakespeare song, she could go a bit wilder with the voice. And also in the Rossini, I felt in parts this sort of melismatic figures, the coloraturas, were still a little bit cautious, as though she was kind of treading carefully.
Yes,
and just go for it a bit more, and it will be great.
Do you think she had the same problem as Laurence, perhaps, in that she's playing it a little bit safe because of the recording?
Yeah, absolutely, and it looked like quite a small room as well.
Yes, yeah.
And so it's just the problem we have these days to
Indeed.
have to sort of perform music that is meant for, okay, not huge spaces. I mean, the Clara Schumann lead is probably meant to be performed in a salon.
Yes.
But still, I mean, especially the operatic repertoire needs that kind of space and also interaction with the audience, interaction with the orchestra, or in this case with the excellent pianist. So, I mean, it's but I think still the sort of character of the performance was very poised, but a little bit cautious.
Yeah, good. I can tell, and I know from working with you on a few occasions, that you're after the excitement, and you like letting people express themselves and allowing people to go. I think the first comment you said to me when we met for the first time, is there anything you want to ask? And I thought, where do you start with a piece like this? And and I said, and I think maybe that's what I said, and then you said, let's just go out there and make music. And I think that's what we want from all these young performers, is to give them that freedom to go out and express themselves and make music.
Indeed, absolutely. And then all the rest, all the aspects that, I mean, we all have problems in our playing or singing or performing, and they will just become obvious once you go for it, you start performing. But I mean, that's what education is for. You get the instruments to make your performance speak at the maximum level, if you like. And it's not about following certain strict rules, I think, and it shouldn't be. It should be like letting the expression come out and using your own understanding of the music. And of course, you have to study endlessly, but it's more like work that you do on your own. You read books, you look at artworks, you feel the heat in the Rossini, you feel the coolness of the Clara Schumann, or indeed Ravel's Ondine, and all this wonderful music that we have, and you kind of immerse yourself into the world of these composers.
And what all these performers need, and well, all these youngsters, including us actually, is the experience now, the opportunity to get out there and perform, because it's been a long time where they've had no contact with an audience. So, hopefully things will change and they'll be able to get out and express themselves and keep developing. Having the education, but then the experience is just as important, I feel.
Absolutely, yes. And I think in our profession, it's the young people, the students, that have suffered the most.
Yes.
Because exactly when you should be kind of cutting your teeth and finding your own personality and performing to people, performing to your friends, to your relatives, to wider audiences, then you can't do it. and it's kind of it's stopping processes that should be going naturally at this stage of their development. So I really feel for them.
Yeah, excellent. You mentioned the accompanists. I think both accompanists are worthy of a mention. It was some wonderful playing from Ashley Beauchamp, who played for Nancy Holt, of course, and then we had Chris Pulling, who played for Jane at the beginning, and I thought both accompanied beautifully.
Yes, bravo for both. Yes,
excellent. Well, you're teaching quite a bit now, or a little bit when you can.
Yes,
and
yes.
do you enjoy that aspect of the profession?
Oh, very much. I have a really nice class. It's an international class at the moment. Well, we're in the middle of changing terms now, but it's 8 students, and they go through quite a sort of demanding program of conducting and also learning different aspects of music and lectures and stuff. So I mean, it's really interesting to be sort of planning that whole thing. And in a way, apart from the conducting students, these 8 lucky ones, I also have a full department of orchestral students, so students of orchestral instruments.
Oh, wonderful.
To look after. So I'm planning their trajectory through their studies in the terms of what they play in the orchestra and what the level should be and how we can develop that. And so it's a pretty big task.
Yes, but very exciting.
Very exciting. And of course, the COVID situation has stopped us doing most of our orchestral projects. So it's kind of, we've done some, but in smaller orchestrations. So and then we had a remote course for the orchestral students also, where also some aspects that you normally don't talk about when the studies go on were touched upon. That was really interesting also.
Yeah. Oh, wonderful. Well, it's lovely talking to you as always, and we could speak to you about your life and your career and your future projects for the rest of the evening. But unfortunately, we've come to the end of the competition. What impressions have you had? Would you like to sum up what we've heard before you go away and deliberate?
Well, I mean, we've heard 4 excellent performers, all with a connection to Sussex, obviously, in one way or another. And of course, my thinking is, how can I compare these 4 wonderful young people to each other? How can you compare a solo piano performance to a solo clarinet performance to a singer? I mean, you could compare the 2 singers, but even in that case, it's not really the point. The point is to give each and every one of them encouragement and to make sure that they go out of this competition having gotten some ideas, some new things for their future development, and they still have a way to go, but they're all really accomplished people, and so yeah, that's what I think.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your wise words. I'm going to let you go and deliberate, and then we'll come back to you shortly, and we'll get to meet the 4 competitors, and then you can announce the winner for us.
Cool.
Thank you so much. These competitions take hours and hours and hours of administration, and it wouldn't be possible at all without the incredible work that our chair of Coro Nuovo Choir does. She is amazing. She keeps me on track. She makes sure that I hand in music in time and give ideas ready for concerts. But the amount of admin work that goes to prepare for this competition is vast. The advertising, the communication with the competitors, and as I mentioned earlier, we had 31 competing this year, and of course she had to make contact with each and every one, making sure that their recordings came through and were filed. So I'd now like to give Kate Kent, our chair, who you can see on the screen with me here, a huge thank you from Coro Nuovo and from all the contestants as well. Because thank you, Kate. Without you, the competition really, really wouldn't be able to take place. So thank you,
Andy,
so much.
I enjoy it.
Well, good. It's a labour of love, I think. And are they generally quite easy to communicate with, these youngsters?
They are. They're very passionate about what they do, and they're very keen to go for it. I don't normally have any problems.
And this year, yet again, Neil Peskett and Chris Peskett, his wife, who you can see, I think they're on screen, are the generous supporters of the competition. They are the owners of Trad Oak, a company based in North Chile, and they've supported us now for a few years. But this year, they have supported us with an extremely generous donation of £2,000 towards the competition. So without you, Neil and Chris, this wouldn't be possible at all. So thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I know from the past that each competitor really appreciates your help. And you are passionate musicians as well. So I know that you also take an interest beyond the competition in following what these youngsters and young professionals are doing and how they're advancing in their careers. So thank you once more from Coro Nuovo.
Indeed.
Pleasure.
Yeah, our pleasure. It's a privilege.
Well, it's wonderful to have you on board with us. And Neil, I know you sing with Coro Nuovo when you can, which is wonderful, with a lovely tenor voice. And Chris, I know you have a wonderful alto voice as well. So to have your passion and your support means everything to us. So we really, really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Our pleasure. Yeah, thank you very much.
Well, congratulations to all of you, and thank you for entering the competition, and congratulations to you all for your splendid performances. We've had a great time listening to not just your final performances, but also the performances that you sent in on the prelim round. Really, really great. And I know it's so difficult to record, and it's so kind of, what's the word? Well, it's just sterile, isn't it? When you haven't got an audience and you don't have anybody to react to what you're doing. So congratulations and well done for persevering with doing it. I don't know how many takes it took. I know it would have taken me quite a few before I'd been happy, but congratulations. Well, look, we're really privileged and really, really fortunate, as you all know, to have an amazing conductor who's been listening to your performances, and we've had little discussions about you all behind your backs, which you will be able to hear if you tune in. But I'm going to hand you over now to Maestro Sakari Oramo, and he's going to speak to not necessarily each of you individually, perhaps he will, but just give a little account of what we've heard this evening, and then it might become a little bit more formal when we announce the winner, etc. Okay, so I'm going to hand over to Sakari now.
Great, thank you, Andy. Hello, everyone. Hi, it's really nice to see you. Also, Neil and Chris, they're in the middle of my screen. And of course, all the four competitors. Thank you for your performances. I've really enjoyed listening and watching to them a couple of times each here in the sweltering heat of summery Finland. It's over 30 degrees at the moment here, and it's been already a couple of weeks, so it's kind of a total summer mode here. And it was great. It was great to listen to music beautifully, seriously, passionately performed, each and every one of you, and also such a great variety of programs that you all brought into this mix. And I think you're already all winners because you got into the final four, and it's a great achievement and really shows also the depth of your current musicianship. And of course, all of you have something still to develop, and you're all studying, which is of course very natural. And I just hope we will soon come out of this situation where you're not able to perform to real people, to really find your kind of own way of making music, of sharing music with audiences and with people. That's what we all so much long for in this situation. However, yeah, it's been, as I said, really, really fantastic to listen to you all. And if I just give very brief sort of comments to each of you individually, and I'll start in the order that your tapes were. So Jane first, thank you for beautiful performance. I think it really came close to perfection in your own genre, and all the leader you performed in different characters, the text, the way you articulate the text and you kind of interpret the music with the text was really fabulous. Thank you for that. And if I want to criticize something, I would like to hear you, and maybe you will, but I would like to hear you go higher, and you do also some lyric coloratura repertoire, because I would really love to hear your high notes as well, and I think they will come out beautifully. But what I really loved is your sort of unaffected and natural way of performing. Don't lose that ever. Maria, thank you for beautiful playing Chopin, A major and F sharp minor, and Ondine. Notoriously difficult piece. I know I'm not a pianist at all, but I'm the son of a pianist who played in past days a lot, also this music. And you could really grab the atmosphere, even in that empty hall recording this music. You have a sense of how to stop the time. I didn't feel the time passing when you played. I just felt, oh, I can just relax and listen to the Chopin and the Ravel particularly. And I think the way you kind of shape those phrases, you still keep them rhythmical, but you do it in a way that kind of doesn't imply that you have to go on immediately always. You're very good at sort of creating atmospheres, and it's a great characteristic for a pianist. And of course, I have to say something to criticize also, because I want you all to kind of get some new ideas out of this brief moment. So I thought in the quicker figures, and this could have to do with the quality of the recording a little bit as well, but in the F sharp minor Chopin and also in Ondine, I thought the quicker figures were slightly sort of blurry and maybe a little bit too hasty at times. So you could maybe concentrate on playing your quicker figures right to the bottom with the keys, and kind of not just toss over them. It's a minor complaint, but I think it could help you forward. Use the same amount of intelligence and musicianship to the quick figures than you do already to the slower, longer sustained notes. Thank you. It's a great performance. Then Laurence, fantastic that you did a contemporary piece and a piece by Jörg Wiedmann, composer that I know quite well, and of course this piece, I mean, it's an incredible tour de force. It's so difficult, it's so virtuosic, and it really has to be right in order to sound convincing, and you nailed it beautifully. And I wrote in my notes, virtuosic playing, maybe even more contrasts could be necessary. Bring out even more the special effects, the different styles of music that there are inside this piece. It all felt a bit like you created a long line, and you could have differentiated a little bit more the different sections. The different, wild bits could have been wilder. The lyrical bits were beautiful. Could be a little bit more freedom in your playing. Okay. In that sense, but of course you wanted to make sure you do it right, and you goddamn did it right. But and it's I know it's not that obvious and that easy, but congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Really good. Yeah. Then Nancy, beautiful, round, poised mezzo voice. I enjoyed very much listening to you also, and I particularly like the Dring song. I had heard it somewhere before. I'm not quite sure where, but it sort of rang familiar to me, and you did that with a great sense of sort of the wittiness of the text, and also the Clara Schumann. The lead was beautifully performed. You're a very poised performer. Perhaps you could dare use your voice a little bit more with different timbres, with different variation of dynamics and tone color, because I think you have all that in your voice, as long as you just find a way of using your voice a little bit more varied way. Also great that you did an aria. It just completely changed the atmosphere when we go into the world of opera, even though you were alone in that room, probably with a pianist, but you brought that kind of the character of Rosina very well. You still have some work to do with the fast figurations, the coloraturas, as you like in the fast bit of the aria, but in general it was a very good performance, and I would like to give you sort of more courage to perform, and I think you will get it automatically when there are people listening to you again, and when you're sort of able to be in contact with audiences. But yeah, really high level, not really that I would expect anything else, because you've all been chosen amongst these 31 entries in the competition, and I think you should all be very happy and proud about your performances.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your concise and incisive comments. I'm sure that's helped each and every one of you, and I hope you can take that on board and work on that and develop that in the future with your teachers, or before you go back to visit your teachers. But thank you so much, Sakari. I'd just like to announce to everybody watching at home now how the prizes work. We have 4 awards. There's a first prize of £1,000, a second prize of 500, and 2 prizes of £250. So the moment has arrived. I don't have a drum. Well, actually, I do have a set of drums here, but I'm not going to do a drum roll. I should get my son in to play it, actually, instead. There might be a single at the end. But Sakari, can I ask you to announce an order, the winners? They're all winners, as you said earlier. So I don't like to say the winners and losers, because there aren't any. But if you could announce the order that you'd like to place.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I just want to say I can't see this as a comparison of you 4 against each other. It's not that. It's maybe more about the sort of the status of your current development and reflecting what I saw and what I heard and how I felt about it. But as Andy said, and as I said before, you're all already there. But yes, the winner is Jane Burnell. Congratulations.
Thank you. No, I'm actually really stunned. I'm sort of, I don't know, I'm really stunned. I literally, as I said, I moved to Manchester like 3 days ago, so yeah, I'm a bit all over the place at the moment, but this is really great. And the program that I performed, I really actually enjoyed performing it, and as I said, this song repertoire that I've sort of come to in the last year is something I'm really enjoying getting to know, and I feel like it's actually shaping a lot of my other repertoire. And yeah, I don't know, this has been a really great experience. It's sad that I didn't get to come and do it in person and actually meet all the other people, you know, the other 3 of you, because I sort of know of people, you know, from various other people. So yeah, I really hope that we can get together at some point in person and make some music together, because that's what it's all about.
Do we have the second place announcement as well?
Second place goes to Laurence Cuttriss.
Well done, Laurence.
Bravo.
Well done, Laurence.
And third prize ex aequo to Maria, Luke, and Nancy Holt.
Yeah.
Congratulations, all of you. Richly deserved, and thank you, Neil, for donating the prize money. It's a great thing to support young artists in their careers, and they really need that help at this point in time.
I think it's well, thank you. I mean, it's a privilege for us to be able to be in a position to do it, and you know, how you manage to separate people with all the, you know, the wonderful musicality that they have. You know, we've listened to it all, and baffles me totally, but I enjoy it immensely, or we enjoy it immensely. So yeah, we're very privileged to to be in a position to do it and to help youngsters go forward. Yeah,
fantastic. So I just want to wish you all a really good coming year of studies when it starts, and let's all hope that we can meet again at some point, maybe even in person would be great. And yeah, best of luck with everything. that you want to do and want to be and become.
Here, here.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Part of our philosophy as well is that we can support young singers. So as a choir, Coro Nuovo are always looking for opportunities to give you a platform in Sussex. So any opportunities that do arise, we'll be in touch, because that is part of our ethos and why we started the competition, was to give young up-and-coming musicians a platform and an opportunity to perform. So I hope that we'll have that opportunity, as Maestro Oramo just said, to meet you and to perhaps even better work with you in the future. But in the meantime, congratulations to you all. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Kate and Alex behind the scenes, for editing this and putting it all together. Thanks, Neil and Chris. Thank you to the competitors. You are all wonderful. Do come back and join us again in the future. Maestro, I can't thank you enough. It's wonderful to see you again. And
my pleasure, my pleasure.
With all your exciting projects, and we will see you on the last night, won't we?
Oh yes, it's very much in the plans.
We'll see,
it's on 9/11, so it has a kind of heavy feel to it, but it will happen, I hope.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, we look forward to that. And also, finally, thank you all at home for tuning in and watching us, and in doing that, supporting our young musicians. Thank you all so much.